Welcome to AWOI Gaming, episode 26. I am your host, Perry, and I hope you all are having a lovely evening. And today, I got a really good new friend. If you say, I met him on Twitch, that's the best place to meet people in the gaming world, of course. And his name is Tyler. How you doing
Hello,
tonight, bro?
hello. Doing pretty good, Barry.
That's good, that's good. Well, like I was going to tell you, what the show is about is how video games might have made an influence on your life. So just think about all the games we played. I'm pretty sure one of them has made an impact on your life.
Definitely.
So we're just going to ask you, what video game has made an influence on your life? If you have multiple ones, we'll talk about it.
Gotcha. The biggest one would have to be Kingdom Hearts. And I've started Kingdom Hearts back in middle school. Back after it had been out for a couple of years, I was a little bit late to the game. But after the first one, I got every single one of them on release day, played through them. I played through all of them yearly. At least I try. And it's just, it's my favorite game series of all time. Just the themes of the friendship and whatnot has really just helped grow me to who I am right now.
Interesting. Because I played Kingdom Hearts growing up too, so it's like, oh yeah, it's one of those games you must play growing up. Like there's no stopping it. Like
yeah, honestly, I was one of the few of my group of friends who had played it. There were maybe like two or three others, but everyone else was just like, "Oh, Disney? Oh, that's too childish for me." Because this was back during middle school when you have to be popular and do sports and whatnot. And I was just back in my little room playing Kingdom Hearts.
You know what's crazy about that is shout out to Recency Bias Radio, who's a really good friend of mine that's doing big things. He's actually said on this podcast that Kingdom Hearts was a way for us to realize that we didn't have to grow up so fast. Could you see what he's talking about? You could agree
definitely. With that? Is Sora, he is such a child. He has his serious moments, but even up through Dream Drop Distance, he's just such a goofy character. And then Riku kind of counterbalances him as the more mature, more serious persona. But Sora is just all around goofy. Hanging out with Donald and Goofy, every now and then Mickey. It gives you that sense of childhood. Just especially as you go around all the different Disney worlds. As a player, you are getting thrown into the stories of all these movies that you grew up with, that that you love, and then you're going through these different stories as a brand new character, and just the different ways that they produce that story while throwing in Sora and the gang really is a creative just masterpiece.
Yeah, because it's like at first it's like you said, you're getting thrown into all the stories, but then you realize that Kingdom Hearts has its own story as well. And I always thought well, is Sora a Final Fantasy character or is he a Disney character? But then I'm like, wait, he's just his own character. It's just clear as day that Square did said he's our own character, and he's probably one of my top 5 favorite heroes of all time, in video games. Now, I could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that too. Funny fact, Disney owns the license to Sora in the game. Sora, Kairi, Riku, but so even though they own him, he definitely doesn't really fit with just a standard Disney character. He is more of his own thing. He is a Kingdom Hearts character.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But I think you were the person I know that posted a top 25 of RPGs, JRPGs, and you were
over on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, so you're if they don't put Kingdom Hearts on this thing, and I was going to ask you this, why do you feel like Kingdom Hearts is a cult classic? It feels that way. Granted, it was big when it first came out, but it definitely feels like a cult classic.
Yeah, the reason it would be a cult classic, has a smaller following base because after Kingdom Hearts 2, whenever Square and Disney started putting out new games on the PSP and the DS and the phone and the 3DS, people lost interest because people didn't want to have to go out and buy all these new systems just to keep up with the story. And I mean, that's a valid concern. It's a valid argument. They spread out the series too thin. But I don't know. I've always been one to follow it. I never had a PSP. I actually borrowed a friend's PSP and their copy of Birth by Sleep so I could play through it when it came out. I bought a 3DS just so I could play Dream Drop Distance and go back and play 358 Days Over 2 and Recoded. Um, and but the good thing Square has done, as you know, they've ported all the games, whether they're in gameplay format or in movie format, to the PS3 and the PS4 to help people get caught up, and that was a very, very smart move of them.
Well, exactly, it is, because what's crazy is that some of my friends never played Birth by Sleep, and that's like one of my favorite of the series. So it's like, huh?
It's in my top 3 for sure.
Oh wow! So was it probably 2-1, then 3, then Birth by Sleep?
You got it. That's it. And nothing beats 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 is just like my game of all time. I love it. The story, the gameplay, the mechanics. I could talk about it forever.
Well, that's the thing then. How do you feel about Tetsuya Nomura? Like his whole idea of like, I guess he gets like blackballed for all his games he comes out with, because it seems like what I've encountered, because like I've been upset with them. It's just that we're ready for the next game, but it's like it's taking forever.
Yeah, it is. 2018 is the closest we have to a release date. Obviously, I'm like hoping for March, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be, November, December before it actually comes out. I can almost guarantee it, as much as I don't want that to be the case. But I think a lot of it is Square and like their producers and their publishers more so than Tetsuya Nomura himself. I think they are spreading him too thin. They're like, hey, we know you make good games. We love the character designs, so we're gonna have you work on Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and all these other games all at the same time. And I can just imagine how stressful it is for him. Like, I don't think he I don't think it's all his decision on what they make him do.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but it just feels like, okay. I remember reading the thing from the president of Square where he said like, we don't want gamers to wait too long, but then he put Nomura on Final Fantasy VII as well. I'm like, wait, you just said you didn't want them to wait too long. Why did you just put them on another project?
Yeah, it's oh man, ever since he left Versus 13, I want to say when he left that's when he ended up going to Final Fantasy VII, all while keeping up with Kingdom Hearts 3, because they moved Tajima Habata to Jima,
Yeah.
something like that. I'm
just
sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, moved him
We got
to
Google for a reason.
yeah.
You're fine.
So
Keep going.
yeah.
Keep talking. You're good.
Oh, okay. Sorry. See, I really think Tetsuya Nomura does know what he's doing, but he has to like balance his time between the two, and that's one reason I think they keep porting all these Kingdom Hearts, old games to newer consoles, is just to give like a smaller group something to do so that the Kingdom Hearts community can continue to receive games on a yearly basis while they keep like the bulk of the team working on 3. And then I'm sure you've heard, but Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be episodic. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, who knows how many episodes. And so they're doing that in smaller chunks so they can get it out to the community faster, which, I mean, I'm iffy on that still. I would much rather just wait until 2022 or whatever, and then release the entire Final Fantasy VII remake at once.
Well, you were correct. It's Hajime Tabata, just so you know. So
okay, Jima, there we go. Yeah,
you were correct. But when they said that Final Fantasy VII is going to be episodic, it kind of had me worried. I'm like, so I'm like, it's only going to be like 2 hours or something.
Mhm.
But then they said that it's going to be the length of Final Fantasy 13, which is about 40 hours. I'm like, well then, you better not, you better not sell it to me for $60 then.
Right, right. I don't know. I think whenever they said episodic, I was worried the same thing. I thought it was gonna be like the Telltale games, but what I think, like I said, the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy were three separate games, and I think something they are likely to do is to separate it. Basically, you know how the old game had like 3 or 4 discs. I
Mhm.
think they're gonna essentially convert like each disc to its own game while adding content and redistributing it to where it's kind of even all the way across. So I think what they have planned will work well. It's just I don't know. The only thing they've done this before or done with this before is Final Fantasy 13, which at the time we didn't know was going to be a trilogy.
Well, there is actually an update as I'm looking online for those listening that there might be some important information coming
Ooh.
for 7, but we won't hear about it until the PlayStation Experience in December. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm
so
looking forward to
we're
that then.
in. Uh, look forward towards that for anyone listening because it's right like December is actually right around the corner. So
No, it's less than a month and a half away. That is crazy.
yeah, like you're just sitting there thinking like, dang, like we're flying through October. Like October is just flying. Now, what you been playing here recently?
Honestly, I haven't had much time with school and work going on, but I know I'm looking forward to Mario Odyssey. Comes out
Oh
Friday.
snap!
Yeah, that's going to be probably my big thing the next little bit. Whatever free time I have is probably going to be dedicated straight to that.
Hmm.
I was lucky enough to pick up a Super Nintendo Classic.
So how do you
So
feel about it?
I really like it. It's a lot of fun. They picked a lot of really good games. They left out a couple really core games, I feel, mostly Chrono Trigger, but
Oh yeah.
and most of the games they have are fantastic. They got Final Fantasy 3, which is really Final Fantasy 6, and Earthbound, and Donkey Kong Country, and Super Metroid, and all these. And I've actually been making my way through Super Metroid when I can, along with playing Donkey Kong Country for the first time. I'm
Oh, for the
just
first time, damn.
yeah, just half an hour to an hour at a time. The last couple weeks is all I can really fit into it, but I'm having a lot of fun because when I was growing up, my first game system ever was a Game Boy Color and then PS2. So I missed out on the PS1, the N64, the Super Nintendo, all of those older like classic systems. So this is my first like foray into the Super Nintendo era, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Cool, cool, cool. So, huh, have you ever played Secret of Mana?
No, but
I
I've
would.
heard it is essential.
It is considered to be the best RPG game of all time. Now, granted, if you don't want to play it on the SNES Classic, you can just wait because it's supposed to be having like a remake for the PS4 that comes out next year.
Right, yeah, the whole little 3D one, which I've seen the community is kind of split on. A lot of people are like, "Oh, they're gonna ruin the classic," and others are like, "Oh yeah, they're making a remake. This is exciting." So yeah, I'm
Now,
kind of
like,
torn as well.
are you torn as well? Like, how do you feel about remakes in general? Like, like we're talking about Final Fantasy VII and like Secret of Mana, but how do you feel about like remakes of a game?
To be honest, I'm mostly indifferent to them for the most part. Of course, I love the Kingdom Hearts remakes. If they add something to it, then by all means go for it. But going back to the Kingdom Hearts, as always, they
Are you
added
fine?
the final mix versions of Birth by Sleep 1 and 2, which added a bunch of extra content. With the Final Fantasy VII remake, they're completely overhauling the graphics and the battle system and the whole gameplay itself. It's still RPG, but it's not the same classic era Final Fantasy game. And so
Now,
those definitely are a lot more like up my alley as far as remakes go. But then, um, even way back in the Super Nintendo era, they had remade like the original three Super Mario games into Super Mario All Stars, which, it's a smart thing to do because if people miss out on like one generation, they can still play them on the newer one. But I think the thing is, I would much rather have backwards compatibility rather than being forced to like buy a whole new remake of a game I may or may not have played the generation before. So if I could pick, it'd be backwards compatibility. But since a lot of games don't have, or a lot of systems don't have that, then remakes are the best we can hope for, and I'm down with it.
now that like we were talking like that leads me into my next question. Then, like, how do you feel when people say that Nintendo doesn't do anything but just rinse and repeat all their stuff?
Well, you know, in one hand, they're not wrong. They have so many Mario games, so many Zelda games. But on the other hand, each one they do change a little bit or enough to make it justifiable. Like, the original Mario games were the 2D side scrolling ones. The later in the generations you go, you get power ups. They add Yoshi into it. They add all these cool little mechanics that justify a new one. It's not just Mario 1.5. It really is Mario Bros. 2 and Mario Bros. 3. And then same with Zelda. The if you think back in the GameCube, they had Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, two totally opposite Zelda games in terms of graphical style and story. But the core Zelda game is still there. It's one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it, but tweak it a bit to keep it interesting.
Well, if it's like I said, Breath of the Wild, if it's the best game, then I don't care. Like it's like the best game. Like,
Yeah.
how did you feel about Breath of the Wild?
Oh man, it was phenomenal. I played that when I was on summer break. I had nothing to do. I dropped 60 hours into it in 7 days.
Oh
And
wow, shit.
yeah, I just played it nonstop and I absolutely loved it. It was so good. It was that one, is one that is really different from previous Zelda games. The open world, the less focus on dungeons, but the more like, miniature sized shrines. And with only four main dungeons, it was definitely something I wasn't expecting initially. But as I played it, I really liked it. I really did.
Well, well, a lot of people say like that's what it's not Zelda though doing that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, there's no music going off when you open the chest, or like they took away the hook shot. I'm like, really? That's what makes Zelda Zelda? I didn't think that is what made Zelda Zelda.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, those are all key components in it, but like, how can you like sit there and say the game's not good if just for those reasons? It just felt weird.
Yeah, I mean, I see the argument for it not being a Zelda game. It did play kind of more like Skyrim in a sense, but at the same time, you did still have dungeons. You still got those different items. You had the bombs and the stasis, stuff like that. And then, the music going off for the chests to me isn't a big deal. They still had chests, which is the big thing. Then there was still that sense of exploration. It was just done in a different way than it had been before.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that completely. So I was just like, dang, I can't like even people that have never played a Zelda game are like, yeah, this shit's great. Like, just is just great right here. Like, it is the best game. But
It
like
is so good.
and said, as we're still focused on, I guess, Nintendo section, it's like, how do you feel when people say like there's no games for the Switch?
I mean, there's a difference in no games for the Switch and like a few wonderful games on the Switch. Like No, for me, I only have Splatoon, and I have one more. I don't even know what it is right now. Gosh, I'm so brain
You
dead.
have arms,
No,
snipper clips.
I have a Snipper Clips demo, but not the
Oh,
actual
okay.
one. Um, actually, no, I think I might just have the full game Splatoon right now because I've been waiting on Odyssey. Because I played Breath of
Okay.
the Wild on the Wii U before we got the Switch. Because we didn't have the Switch yet, but I couldn't wait to play Zelda, and so bought it on the Wii U. But yeah, with Mario Odyssey coming out this week, that's probably gonna be the last game I get on the Switch for a while, at least until Christmas or a little bit after. Because I think it's just gonna occupy all my time, and it's gonna have so much content in it that I think it'll hold me over for a good long while.
I'm trying to go in spoiler free, man. Spoiler free. I don't
I
want to see
gotcha.
a single. I don't want to see a single thing. I got all my friends are like, oh, look at this and that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see anything. Just
Yeah.
keep that to yourself. And like people go like, why do you want to do that? I'm like, because I did that with Zelda, and I turned out to be really, really good. I'm gonna do it with Mario, just the same way. Like, wait, Mario Rabbits, isn't that the game that you have?
You're right. That is the other one. It just because I beat that one in like a week, and I haven't actually gone back to beat all the challenges or anything. But
Now, how
that
do you
one,
feel about that game? Because I'm still currently playing it. I remember taking a poll asking you guys what should I play, and you were like, "Well, Destiny 2 would do this. Mario
right,
Rabbits
right.
is just fun."
Yeah, no,
Yeah, sure. Just get Mario Rabbits.
yeah, I remember that now. Like I said, I'm brain dead. Um,
You're
Mario
fine.
Rabbids. It was just something out of the blue. No one was expecting it. I've never played a Rabbids game before. Never played the Rayman Rabbids thing on the Wii or any of the others that came out since then. But I love tactical RPGs like Fire Emblem. Yeah, I've only played a couple Fire Emblems, but all the ones I have played, I really enjoyed.
Now, how do
I
you feel about
played
Fire Emblem?
it's fun. It's hard, but it's meant to be.
Because I've
So
never played it. So
Fire Emblem,
yeah, so like everyone's like, you should play it. I'm like, why though?
um, a lot of it is a character interaction. Between the main missions you go through and um, there are different like conversations that are held between characters that improves their relationship. And I think it was Awakening where they introduced the pairing system, where you can have two units share a tile, and then they each get bonuses from the other, like an offense or defense bonus, extra attack, a guard, something like that. And as they are unified together in battle more and more, then like they build a relationship and they can eventually get married. And then there's a cool thing in the middle where it kind of skips a little bit, and all of a sudden you're playing with these units and their children, which is really cool because that changes based on who you have paired with who. And it's a very slow paced, top down strategy RPG. Um, you move so many units. You choose someone to attack. Sometimes you can use like an item instead or something. And each weapon is like a rock paper scissors thing. There are swords, axes, bows and arrows. I don't remember all the details of what beats what or anything like that right now, but there's a lot to it, but the pacing is really good in it as well. So
So I
it's
would
a more complex Mario Rabbids.
okay, so more complex than Mario Rabbits because like I'm playing it currently and like Mario Rabbits, I'm just like I've never played XCOM a day in my life, but this shit's fun. Like,
Yeah, it's so good. They not oversimplify it, but they do simplify it in Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's accessible to nearly everyone. It gets really hard. There is a lot of strategy involved, but the core concepts are simple. You move, you attack, and you use some kind of super if you have it available. There's only three modes of cover. There's 100%, 50%, or you're out in the open. Whereas XCOM, it's a lot more in depth. There's like you can be behind like 25% cover, 50, or probably 75, I'd imagine. And I kept hearing people complain like you could have a 97% chance to hit an enemy and you miss. And that sounds so frustrating. But in Mario Rabbids, it's
Yeah,
0, 50, or 100. So,
yeah.
and like, I don't know, it's accessible, but difficult.
It's accessible and funny.
Yeah, it is really funny too. It's not the most like laugh out loud game I've ever played, but I got a few really good chuckles from it, for sure.
Now, like without spoiling, because we won't go in too further for those who are still playing the game. What
Mhm.
team did you roll with?
I spent most of my game with Mario, Luigi, and Rabbid Peach.
Ooh, okay. I'm like we're in the same company then for real.
Yeah, later in the game, I tried to change it up some here and there as you got more characters, because I wanted to try everybody out. But it just there were the restrictions. You had to have Mario, and you had to have a single Rabbid at least, and then you could pick whoever you want for the third character. And just the way they work
Luigi
out.
feels like the better sniper though for real. He's a better sniper than what I've seen so far.
Yes, he is the main sniper. He can hit, say 15 units away from someone else's 10. He has a really high base damage, but his health is so poor, man. I got one shot with him like a lot, and that made him really difficult for boss fights. I noticed, but if you can position him correctly and kind of stay one step ahead of the enemy rabbits, then you're good to go.
Okay, I'll have to check that out because like I keep dying with them. Like really, like fuck,
Hmm.
you're actually the main assets to this team to make it work, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you really got to utilize that distance of his sniper, and upgrading his health early on is pretty good,
but
just to help keep him alive.
like I said, like this game is pretty much a gym, but no one's playing it. Like it really is just like really really good. Like for some
I,
odd
I know the
reason.
rabbits are throwing a lot of people off, and people are like, "Oh, I don't want to play. I don't like the rabbits." But I mean, again, I haven't played another rabbits game before, but from what I've seen on the internet, they're not as played up here as they tend to be. They're not as annoying. They're not stupid. They're they're funny. They do a lot of like slapstick humor or whatever, which is fine. I don't mind it. And they're there, but
Cool,
they're not too in your face, which I really like.
cool, cool. Aren't you a Twitch streamer too, or no?
I was for a while. I haven't streamed in a long time.
Okay,
Um,
so what what made you want to get into the stream world for a little bit?
um, really, it looked like fun. I've seen a lot
Yeah.
of people do it. I watched a few streamers, and once they announced Kingdom Hearts on the PS4, I was like, oh yes, I have to do this. I'm gonna go through the Kingdom Hearts games and stream these and share my love with this game with everybody. And um, got through one of the games. I actually was doing that as a duo stream um, with another streamer, but we kind of lost time to do that together, and I haven't wanted to really pick it back up without him. Um, so I streamed a little bit of ukulele, some Bloodborne on my own, but I really missed that like partnership of doing it with someone else.
Hmm.
It was hard for me to get going solo, I guess.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Look, I see some streams that do that, like where it's like, well, if I had somebody with me, it'd be great, but like not, then I can do it, but it's not as fun, I
Right,
guess.
exactly. Yeah, and if I'm not having, as much fun on my own, I feel like I'm not doing a justice to the viewers, and just felt like it would be best to wait until I had more time with my other guy who we were doing Kingdom Hearts with. So
Hmm. But like, I think you said, have you platinumed every one of them or most of them?
I platinumed all of them on the PS3, and I platinumed 1, 2, and Chain of Memories on the PS4. I am nearly done with the platinum of Birth by Sleep. I just have to
Hmm.
go through and complete the reports with every character. But
Oh
I played through it
shit!
on critical with each of them, did the final episode, did the secret episode, and all of that. And I did Platinum Dream Drop Distance as well in the 2.8 collection, along with getting all of the trophies for 0.2, which I don't think had a platinum because it was just like a 2-hour game.
Yeah. No, how old are you again?
I am 26.
Oh, so you're my age too. So like, well, I guess Kingdom Hearts 2 came out when we were like
Eighth grade.
14, 15. Yeah,
Yeah.
15, like right before we hit freshman year of high school. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to my dad earlier because like he's into the series as well. And like I've said
Oh
that
yeah.
in like recent episodes, like earlier episodes of this, that he got pissed off at me for playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And I was like, why are you mad? He's like, look, you know what he said, like, what mode are you playing on? I said, proud mode. He said, what the fuck are you doing playing on proud mode, Perry?
Oh man.
Like, what do you mean, Dad? It's just proud mode. He's like, yeah, but you're only fucking 15 years old. Shouldn't be playing on the hardest difficulty. He was just jealous.
I got you. Right. And then, of course, with the re-releases in the final mix, they included Critical, which is such a fun challenge. I really enjoy my Kingdom Hearts 2 Critical runs.
Oh, do you?
Hmm.
Now, do you like Persona or no? Or
I played Persona 4 Golden up for like 20, 30 hours, and I enjoyed it, but something came up. I don't remember what, but I just stopped playing it for a couple weeks, and by the time I went back to get back into it, I was kind of lost already, and so I just kind of put it down. And to be honest, the exact same thing happened with Persona 5. I
oh
was
God,
playing
bro,
it,
you gotta
I
play it.
liked it. Um, I got 36 hours into that one. I had completed the second castle, I guess you would say, basically a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was working my way towards the third, and there's just so much to it. And unless I have like 4 or 5 hours to sit down and really, focus on it, it's not one I can just pick up and play for 30, 40 minutes here and there. I need a good long session to really get into it.
It took me 153 hours to beat, bro. So
Oh gosh. So I'm
just to
at the
beat.
36 hours. I'm not even a third of the way there.
No, you're no, you're nowhere near close. I'll just tell you that right now. But like this has just been a year for me, like where I play like I feel like I play like everything in its core, and I feel like nobody can really touch me, like in
Mhm.
game criticism. Because I know
Yeah.
there are a lot of games I need to play still, but it's just like you look at it like Breath of the Wild. Okay, cool. Then I played Horizon Zero Dawn, platinum that.
Ooh, you and me both, man.
I platinum that one time through, like first time ever, just one time through. I said I'm just gonna platinum it one time through.
Yeah.
Did that, played The Witcher 3 for the first time and beat it. I was like, oh my god, this is
Ooh,
like
man.
so. And then like Splatoon, and then like Near Automata. You ever played
Ooh,
that one?
yeah, that's a good one. I played through
Yeah,
ending A. I did not go through endings B and C, but I did play through
I
the first one.
like I said, because I'm becoming more of a reviewer as I get more into the gaming industry, like yourself, kind of, sort of.
Hmm.
But so I felt like that would be the first really good game I could review, and like seeing how I'm always looking for something influential in video games, just because like we talk about them so much, but like I'm pretty sure like what's actually influenced you about it? Like we enjoy them, but like tell me why. Like someone's like, well, the gameplay's this and that, but like no, but what's the impact on it? Like what impact can it have on you?
Gotcha.
And I saw Near Automata do that to me, like because at the end of that game, like I'll tell you the difference in how I see influences. Persona 5, it was like I was fist pumping at the end of the damn game. Like it made me that happy. Like
Hmm.
really great. That finally beat the game. Near Automata actually was in tears. It was just different, like it was just a different experience. I'm like, yeah, I definitely know what I want to get into.
Mm.
But like I reviewed that game and it was just like, okay, I know what I want to do now. Like
Gotcha.
and like have you ever played The Last Guardian?
I haven't yet. No. I played through Shadow of the Colossus a couple times, but I never went back to play Ico or went forward to play Last Guardian. I'm planning on it
Honestly,
at some
I've never
point,
played it.
but not
Mhm.
anytime soon.
Like you said, like you said, you got a lot on your plate, and like that's what happens. Like we can't be man child all the time, but when we have the chance, it's like, okay, what are we gonna play? And
Right. Yeah, no, man, this summer though, let me tell you about it real quick. I was on summer break from school and it didn't have any kind of job going on at the time. So I devoted my summer to getting rid of my backlog of games. I ran through 32 games in 3 months.
shit,
And
well, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, like I was just like boom, 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 just checking all these games off my list. Some of them I had started before, so I would pick up like halfway through or something. There were a lot I had, started years back and then just kind of gave up on, so I would start those from the beginning. There's a lot of like more recent titles that I was picking up for the first time, just wanting to get through them. But it was, man, this summer was so much fun. And then once school started back, I just hit a wall and had to stop.
Well, that's the thing though. It's we like one of our friends again said this. Like you don't want to have a back catalog for video games. You don't want to do that because you'll never get around to the game. And like
Right.
he like pretty much shoved that down my throat. Like he said, "Have you beat The Witcher 3 yet?" And he was like, "No, you're." He's like, "P, you're bullshitting, man. Come on, just play the damn game, beat it." Like, so I had to like literally sat down and beat it and was like, "Yeah, I really like this game." Because at the same time, I was reading the books too, so I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really invested in this world."
Ooh, I've
Like,
not read the books, but I've heard good things.
yeah, that's it's really good. So it really gives you an idea of Geralt and Cirilla and like Trish and Yennefer and like just the world of Novigrad and the location where they're at. And it was just great to like read it and then play it. But he has such a great when he said that it was so true because like how you said you did 32 games in the summer.
Hmm.
I literally just like beat all the games I own right now. Like I said, like there's no way that I'm gonna review a game and not have a back catalog. If that makes sense. Like I'm not gonna have a back catalog if I have all these other games coming out at the same time. So
Right.
I made it a thing to beat Persona near Witcher Samus Returns, as you know, as I tweeted it
Oh, yeah, yeah.
of Final Fantasy 12. I finally beat that game. I was like, this is actually a pretty good game. I don't know why it does like I don't know why it doesn't get the credit it deserves. Everyone doesn't like it.
I'm, I'm, I'm one of those. I was not a fan.
You weren't a fan of Final Fantasy 12?
No, I did
Dang.
not have a good time. By like 25-ish hours, I was like, is it over yet? Am I done? Is this the final level? How about this one? Is it not? Come
I
on.
think I think it's because the dungeons and like fighting the boss like 3 bosses in one place, and you're like, really? I just
Yeah,
beat
it
this.
was. I just didn't
But
have
that
fun. I liked the concept. I liked the gambit system. I did not like the license board. There were too many menus. Like when I spend 75% of my gameplay running through a menu, I'm just not having a good time.
I can see what you're saying, but I was just like, yeah, I went ahead and beat it. I was like, okay, this is good. Trade in to GameStop, please. like
Yeah,
like what do you want, sir? I'm like, put money down for Assassin's Creed.
that's gonna be a good one.
You think it's gonna be good? So like,
Origins? Oh yeah.
yeah, what
Um,
like so I'm trying to go in blindfolded with that. What are your expectations for it?
I know it's gonna be so different from all the others. At first, when they was like, "Oh, it's gonna be set in Egypt," I was like, "Oh, Egypt? Yeah, not really that interested." But the more I see of it, the more combat, the more missions, the more just environment. Like, oh, this all the stuff you can do. I'm so excited for it. But I'm getting Mario Odyssey instead. I told myself I wasn't going to get both at the same time. I thought about it for a while. decided to go with Mario Odyssey for now, but I definitely plan to pick up Assassin's Creed. Um, probably maybe probably around Christmas will be when I
Okay.
get that one.
Now, but I think what a lot of people are saying about that is that it is true is that everything's coming out next Friday at the same time, and it's just weird. Like
Yes,
like Wolfenstein 2 comes out on the 27th too.
it
Huh?
does. I forget about that one just because it's like third tier to the other two, and I
Yeah.
mean, people are excited. It's going to be a good game. People love the first one and its DLC, but I'm just when I think of the 27th, I see Mario Odyssey and see Assassin's Creed, and that's all I really think of.
Oh, and if you're a Netflix fan, you're also getting Stranger Things too, but you know.
That's a whole nother ball game, man.
It's like, oh gosh, like what should we like play and what should we not play?
Yeah.
But seeing how you seem to like Assassin's Creed, do you feel like it's an Assassin's Creed game though?
I don't know, but without having played any kind of demo or beta or anything for it, I can't honestly say. I think it's the natural evolution for Assassin's Creed. Nothing has really changed since what, two,
Mhm.
maybe three. Like they've done different environments. Like four was drastically different. I hear a lot of people say that one is it's a great game. It's a bad Assassin's Creed game because you don't feel like an assassin while you're playing it. It's just a good pirate game, is what I've heard people say.
With Black Flag?
Yeah. And I can see where they're coming from, but I mean, all the mechanics are still there from back from Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood and 3 and all those. So I wouldn't say it's not an Assassin's Creed game. It's just different from the others, but not in the same way that Origins will be different. No, that's kind of like confusing wording wise, but
No,
I
no,
think you
it
get what I'm
makes sense.
saying.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, I just know people are like worried that it's not the same because, like, you have a level system in it, and now, like, the buttons aren't the same because you're like, but isn't that good for the company not to pretty much just release the same type of game? Like we mentioned before, like with Mario and Zelda, like that's your bread and butter, but like we got to change it up somewhat.
And that's exactly right. As you know, ever since the first Assassin's Creed came out, I think they've been releasing a new one like every single year
Mm-hmm.
until Syndicate came out 2 years ago, and then they decided to skip 2016 because they wanted to spend more time focusing on nailing what they want in a evolved Assassin's Creed game, and that's exactly what we're getting in Origins. It took them an extra year, but from the look of it, it is going to be so worth it.
Yeah, like I can't wait. But like I said, I will have both. So it's like I'm probably gonna have some friends play the Switch Mario,
Hmm.
like while I play Assassin's Creed. That way I can review both at the same time. So like, go ahead. Now, you you how often do you check out reviews?
Um, I check out pretty much a good 4 or 5 reviews for each like major release that I'm interested in.
Okay,
Even if
so
there's games I'm not super interested in, if I know it's going to be like a big game, I still like to check it out just to see what the general consensus is for it.
now what is no? With that being said, like when you look at IGN scores or Game Informer scores,
Hmm.
how do you feel about their scoring system and like how they arrive to a game being a nine when like you might think it's not really a nine?
Like that one's kind of hard to say. Like at face value, like when I go to a review, I like to see the score just to see like how good or bad it is. But at the same time, I know deep down the score is pretty meaningless. I mean, if something's not an 8, just start disregarding it. If it's a 7, forget it. And like if 5 is average, there's not many average games out there. Everything is a 7 or 8 or 9.5 or what have you. And so I feel like the points have lost their meaning over the last few years. For a while, I was really liking the Kotaku articles, their reviews. It was just a yes or no. Would they recommend the game? It was more of like a conversation in a sense with the reader. They would give you a list of what they liked about the game, what they didn't like about the game, and if they could recommend it. But at face value, it's still the same thing. It's a score. That one's either it's just 100 or a 0. So I don't focus so much on those scores nowadays, but I do really take a good hard look at the pros and cons of each game, the likes and the dislikes, and just the different reviewers' thoughts. It's funny how when you see one review, you've pretty much seen them all. They all say a lot of the same stuff, but every now and then you'll see someone that has a different viewpoint of the game, and I like finding those comparisons.
That's cool. Well, like I asked that because like the way I review my games isn't based off of it used to be off of a 10 out of 10 score. Trying to formulate myself around the IGN brand of how they do it.
Hmm.
But now I've come to the conclusion that I don't need to really do that. So the way I'm gonna do it instead of like actual out of 10 scores, because like that's what people care about, I'm gonna
Hmm.
do mine off of an influence score out of 5.
Okay.
So if that makes sense to you,
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
I think I follow.
just like how, let's say, um, the new uh, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm just throwing a game out there,
Hmm.
guys. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It'll get a 4 out of 5 on its influence scale, and I'll tell you what influences it has within the game that would make you want to play it.
I gotcha. That makes sense.
Instead of having like a 10 out of 10 score, like, well, buy the game or rent the game. Well, you can
Hmm.
do that, but at the end of the day, like, I feel like there's some influences in everything, like The Lost Legacy, Uncharted. I don't know if you're an Uncharted fan.
Oh, I love it. I haven't played Lost Legacy, but I've played my fair share of 1 through 4.
Okay, I've said, like, when I did that review, I said, like, on YouTube, I said the game is good, not great. Like, and like I got a lot of criticism from like my friends saying that, like, what do you mean it's good and not great? I'm like, why does good have a negative conjunctive to it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying
Hmm.
it's a good game. Like, I'm telling you to play the game still, but it's not worth $40.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I wanted, I looked at that and I was like, well, I'm all about influences. Why don't we change it up a bit so people can see where I'm coming from?
Hmm.
But
I think that could go really well. Yeah, I could see that.
yeah, so I'm just curious because like everyone like has their different opinions about reviews because like some people think that well they're being paid off. I'm like really like
I've never gotten that feel from I know a lot of people are like really do believe that, and other people are really against it. And I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I've never seen any kind of like indication that it really is the case.
hmm well like you said like you're talking about Assassin's Creed like how it's better, but like I think what's going to be great about this and like I'm not won't bring race up too much, but like seeing more ethnicity in video games is what's making it better for a lot of others that want to play it.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that or not. Like we have we have two of the big games that came out this year, Horizon Zero Dawn and The Lost Legacy, are female protagonists throughout. Like,
Right, and those were like big deals in a sense, but it shouldn't be.
I mean, like it's a good feel though. Like it shouldn't.
Hmm.
Like it's a good. It's good that we're getting this diversity in video games finally because it's like
Definitely, yeah.
granted we've had Laura Croft, but she disappeared for a while. Now she's back.
Yeah, she is.
And like you said, we have Uncharted, which is great. I I'm glad that you like it. I'm a fan because like The Last of Us, I know you're probably a fan of that too.
Oh man, anything Naughty Dog is pretty much gonna be on my list.
Oh, really? Well, some people say they don't like Jack and Dexter. I'm like, wait, I love Jack and Dexter.
No, it's not okay. Naughty Dog and Insomniac, and somewhat Sucker Punch. I call them the golden trifecta of the PS2 because you had Sly Cooper from Sucker Punch, Ratchet and Clank from Insomniac, and Jack and Daxter from Naughty Dog. Of those three, Jack and Daxter was my least favorite. Not to say I didn't like it. I love it. Jack and Daxter is really fun, but of those three, it is number three.
No,
But
I'm more of
then,
a. Go ahead. You're fine.
oh, I was gonna say, and then when we got to the PS3 with the Uncharted games, that blew Resistance out of the water. I like Resistance. It's fun, but it's not Uncharted. And Resistance was done by Insomniac. But then there's Infamous, done by Sucker Punch, which would be my favorite of all three of those. And so it just, I don't know, it goes back and forth just depending on which generation we're talking about.
Now, how do you feel? Because, like, I feel like I've asked this question a bunch of times, but I feel like I'm getting a different answer from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when people say Uncharted is nothing but a movie game?
I don't believe that. It is very cinematic. It has those quick time events somewhat in there. You do play it a lot for the story because it's engaging. You like the characters. You want the characters to win. The opening of 2, when Drake is hanging from the train car, you're just like, oh my goodness, is he okay? Is he going to get out of this? What is he going to do? How is he going to get past this? But at the same time, you have that core gameplay of the third person shooter with the cover and like the different layouts of the areas. You have the puzzles. Like they could turn it into a movie and it would be phenomenal. But first and foremost, it's a game, and it always will be.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I agree with that because, like, I had to like bring it up. Like, I understand why people think it's a movie game, but like, it's a game, like, nonetheless, and like, it's really fun. Like, it's probably one of the most thrilling experiences I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's like some points like where I really didn't care about the whole like there's always like shooting all like at certain points like you'll get a movie scene and like nothing but shooting for like the next 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, this guy died down for like, at least 2 seconds, right? Please. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to go to bed.
Yeah,
No.
definitely.
But how do you feel about The Last of Us though? Like, how are you ready for Last of Us 2 or
Oh, so ready. My head is just, oh, I want it so bad. I want them to release more information about it. But
Hmm.
Last of Us One, I, I heard it was good. It got great review scores. But okay, people really like this game. I'll check it out. It's by Naughty Dog. I love Uncharted. Let's try it. I did not go in expecting to be moved like I was. You've played it, yeah?
Yeah, I played it. I love
Alright.
it.
Yeah, like
Like
go ahead.
I'm listening to you. I'm just looking up some stuff to see if there's anything
Okay,
about a release
gotcha.
date. That's all.
Yeah, it. I mean, just again, this Naughty Dog is a master of making characters that you care about and those stories that keep you interested as you go along. Last of Us is a lot more tense than Uncharted is, just because of the setting. It's apocalyptic. You have the clickers. You got the people. It's very emotional, and the way Joel and Ellie kind of, they're forced into this story together. But as they go on, you can see them like start to really connect, and just, man, it's good. And the opening sequence alone had me in tears. Like this is the first like 15 minutes of the game. You don't do a whole lot there. If like no, I would call Last of Us more of a movie title than Uncharted. But again, first and foremost, it's a game, and that's just what it is. But just the way they do the storytelling is phenomenal and really keeps you invested. I'd say even more so than Uncharted, and at times.
Okay. Like I agree with. I get what you're saying because like I looked at it as like you said, like two people coming together, but they need each other to survive. Kind of like The Walking Dead, but better, like ten
Definitely.
times. But it's
Yeah.
like Naughty Dog just has this knack of doing it, and like when they released the second one, like you said, it was just like the trailer, just like you guys are really doing this.
Yeah, like it was one I was not expecting there to be a sequel. Just the way they ended it, it was perfect. I mean, I'm glad they're doing a sequel. I just hope they do it right, but I'm not even that worried about it because I mean, it's Naughty Dog. Their track record's like 100%, just about. So I
Now,
have faith that they're going to do it justice.
no, I don't know if you've heard about the allegations that are going around Naughty Dog right now, though. Have you?
Yeah, I saw a post about that on Twitter a day or so back.
Yeah, it's a little weird in a sense because like I guess like with this whole Harvey Weinstein thing going around, like everything just needs to happen all at once. We have this hashtag Me Too. I'm really not for sure about that. So whatever's going on, so it's like Me Too. Like, well, everyone's stepping up now, but it's
hmm
like I don't like if we don't even know if the person's going to push to sue Naughty Dog for it. You know, company in jeopardy for not actually being able to create like The Last of Us 2 or Uncharted or anything else. But it was just weird. The timing is just weird, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. It was very strange timing for sure.
It's just I'm upset that that might have happened to the guy.
hmm
But why didn't you tell your boss?
Yeah, like
Like,
whenever they released that they didn't have any kind of record of anything, I'm like, what 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 can happen next? I don't know what the next step is for anyone.
it's like I like it was just weird saying, well, let's just hope that I'm pretty sure more information will come out over the next couple of weeks and we'll
Oh,
find out.
yeah,
But
probably.
how did you feel about E3, man?
Overall, it was somewhat of a letdown, to be completely honest with you. There's a lot of stuff there I was hoping to see that I didn't,
Ooh, like what?
but well, mostly Last of Us 2. They led with the Uncharted Lost Legacy thing, which I was excited for it. I haven't played it yet. Like I said, not worth $40. I kind of saw that just from what I saw at E3. Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be a full length game. I mean, especially judging by the not full game price. But to me, it seems more like a 20, maybe $30 game,
Mm-hmm.
but not quite $40. Um, and then Naughty Dog was like, "Oh, we're saving The Last of Us until after Uncharted goes through." Which, as a business move, it's smart. I understand why they did it. It's just it's what I wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of God of War 3, sadly. There wasn't a lot of
Oh,
information on
I
that.
mean, we just mean God of War because that's
Oh, right, yeah,
pretty
no,
much
I don't know why I said 3. It's definitely just God of War. 3 came out years ago, man. Um,
dang.
yeah,
Can't feel
and
like
then
that.
yeah, I mean, we're talking about ports. Earlier in the episode, it got ported to PS4 from the PS3, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's one of those that stands the test of time. It's just as good now as it was when it came out. But I really like the Spider-Man stuff they showed. It was good to see some new concrete gameplay of that rather than just a teaser trailer they released last year.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I really wanted was Kingdom Hearts 3, which they showed at the Kingdom Hearts orchestra concert, which is like, this isn't part of E3, but here you go, here's a trailer. And that was awesome. And then, but there wasn't anything about it at E3. There wasn't any news or information about it. They just had that trailer from the concert, which was phenomenal. But I just was expecting more, I guess. Which maybe that's greedy to expect like so much from these companies, but E3 is just like that time of year. You think they're gonna come out with everything?
Yeah. But like I said, I think that's just us as gamers because, like, at the end of the day, we just got to realize that we all have to work together, like publishers, journalists, reviewers, just gamers, and developers, we all have to work together to be able to create a better atmosphere for games. Like Final Fantasy 15, like when they gave us that option to play the demo. I don't know if you played the Final Fantasy 15
Oh
demo.
yeah, I
They said,
bought
well,
Final Fantasy Step Zero at
yes.
$60 to play the
Mhm.
demo.
Yeah, exactly. I did too. So it's like when they asked for your feedback, that was great because they changed a lot. Like they said,
Oh
okay,
yeah, they
well,
did.
they're like, well, you guys don't like this, then we'll change it this way to make it better. Instead of, because I remember like when Noctis would do it, it was like random, like sword
Hmm.
fights. So it's like your sword would just change it to like randomly. And
Hmm.
they said, like, you guys don't like that? Okay,
You're
we'll
talking about
make it to,
episode Jeskai?
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't random. Um, there was like kind of a hidden menu that you would go to, and it was a set order every time. You would have like an opening weapon, and then like a thrusting weapon, and then like a final hit weapon, and you could change that around and see how it affected the different combos, which was cool. It kind of had that like that strategy aspect of it, but I much prefer what they went to at the final game, where you just flick the D-pad and it's a whole new weapon until you decide to change it again.
Yeah. It felt way better and like more like what I wanted. It felt more Kingdom Heartish. And
Hmm.
I hate,
And that's exactly what I felt like they were going for, which threw
Mhm.
a lot of people off. But I think it also got a lot of people interested in Kingdom Hearts when people kept seeing that comparison of the combat. It felt like Kingdom Hearts. So,
and
uh, yeah,
all those influences, like influential going
hmm,
back and forth.
exactly.
And it's like what you were saying is like we expect so much and we never get, but like at the end of the day, like video games are like $60, and they should actually be more if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, with all the different costs to go into it, we also have to think of just how many uh, games, like how many discs they sell,
Hmm.
and how many are bought digitally. I don't remember numbers, but there's one game that came out recently that sold like what, a couple million in a week or something. I don't know. It was insane. Can't remember
Oh
what it
shit!
was, but
I think it was like Near did something like that. I know it did for
yeah,
like the
it hit
PC.
some kind of record for sure.
Like it's doing record numbers right now. And it's just like crazy. And like we
Mhm.
keep on talking about how like there's no games for like the Switch or any games out right now. Well, let's just go ahead and tell you, Nintendo did that shit on purpose. They told you better go ahead and beat all your games right now because this game called Mario Odyssey is about to drop in a week.
Right, and what Nintendo's done is smart. You know, it launched with Breath of the Wild, which I mean, that's the smartest thing they've done in a while. That was awesome. And then they every 2 months they're releasing a new AAA big Nintendo title. They released Arms a couple months later, then Mario Rabbids, and now Mario Odyssey, and I think Xenoblade it is set to come out
December.
before Christmas, and so like it's a very steady release of these new games. They're giving you time to play these games that you're buying before they throw another AAA title at your face.
Yeah, so like when Metroid comes out next year, it'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll have
Definitely,
time.
yeah.
Are
They've
you a
got a really
Pokemon fan?
oh yeah.
So Nintendo Switch getting Pokemon. How do you feel about that?
I am so excited. I want to know more. Just again, that greediness in me. Just I want to know everything because they've released like almost zero details about it. They're like, it's happening. There you go. Um, want to know more. Actually, I'm not a fan of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. That
Really?
hasn't. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I didn't like Sun and Moon anyway. To be honest, X and Y were the last ones I really enjoyed. I played through Sun. It took me like 4 or 5 different like sessions of like, oh, I'm gonna play Pokemon for a week. Okay, I'm bored. Put it away for a few weeks or a month. Come back later. Okay, I'm gonna do the next island now, and then finish it and be like, okay, I'm bored again. It took a lot of those to get me through it. Just something about it didn't catch me the way um the rest of them did. I think it was because there was a cutscene like every 2 feet. It seemed No, normally I'm into that, but not for a portable Pokemon game. I think they try to go too hard on the story, and for whatever reason, it just didn't capture me like they wanted it to.
Like X and Y and like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah,
Because those were
those yeah, those were good. They focused more on the gameplay. They had the story in X and Y, which is really cool. Like honestly, I couldn't tell you all the details about it, but overall, it was just about you trying to go through and learn about Mega Evolution. But
and which
and
was weird that they took it away in Sun and Moon.
yeah, that really threw me for a loop. They took away the Mega Evolutions and added the Z crystals, which was like, is this something they really needed to change right now? Like they just introduced this, and then all of a sudden it's just not there anymore. It felt too drastic of a change.
You
But I
were
mean,
correct.
I don't generally like change anyway. I think that's one reason I like the Mario and Zelda games. The small incremental tweaks they make here and there, gradually making it better and better. Breath of the Wild is the outlier in that situation. It was like completely different, and I loved it. But
Hmm.
something about the new Pokemon games just don't sit right with me.
Now, are you a big you pretty much like CG Project Red then, right? The company.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, it sounds so familiar. They
Oh, they
did.
made The Witcher.
Oh yeah, that was The Witcher. Mhm. Witcher, I liked. I haven't beaten it.
Mm.
It's not one of those I've played in like a few different sessions. I've put in 5 to 10 hours into it, like at a time, and then I don't play it for a few months.
Hmm.
But last time I played, I got through the Red Baron storyline, and I made it to like the second or third big story area. So,
No,
and I'm interested in it, but it's not one I can just sit down and play all day, every day.
it has a bit of intimidation feel to it. Someone said like Perry, like if you like The Witcher, I mean like if you like Breath of the Wild, you need to go play The Witcher. So yeah, that's what.
I gotcha.
So you like so pretty much what I'm saying is like I'm pretty much open world burnt out right now.
Mm, yeah, you've done a lot of those. It's just that time Mario Rabbit is so refreshing. It's much more linear.
Hmm. Now, I like we'll wind down because I know you're kind of tired. Here, first off, thank you for still coming on to the show. That's
Oh yeah,
very
of course. I've enjoyed it a lot.
okay.
Thank you for inviting
But
me to begin with.
oh, anytime, bro. I'm enjoying it. Like you're welcome on anytime as like more games come out and like any more recommendations. You have any recommendations for a game to play? Like for me to like sit down and play.
Gotcha. Yeah. You sound like you've really played all the new ones, the big ones recently. Horizon, Uncharted, Breath of the Wild, and all of those. Um,
Got any like back catalog games that like I should
Catalog
like
games.
invest in?
Um, well, how far back do you go? Do you have a 360 or a PS3, or do you just
I
have
have a PS3.
PS4?
PS
You have PS3.
PS3.
Have you played Nino Kuni?
Oh God. I
But
had
yeah.
to beat it then.
Oh, you haven't played it yet?
I have it. Like I have it. I'm looking right at it right
Oh, so you
now.
have it, but you haven't beaten it.
Yeah. So
Okay. That's one you have to go through. The new one's coming out in like January.
yeah.
It's going to be good. Um,
So
looking
I
forward to that one.
really have to play it. Is it that good?
Oh man, it's phenomenal. It's another one that had me in tears in the first hour.
Like you said,
Like,
I'm kind of like sort of deeper into the story. I'm like I just got the girl not too long ago.
oh, okay, yeah, so you're probably what, 5, 10 hours in?
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, no, you honestly don't get her until a good ways in. Um, you still got, I'd say, a good 30 hours left at least.
Okay,
Um,
like I said,
give or take,
I will
depending on how many familiars you try to collect.
I will definitely check that out then because like I've heard a lot of good stuff about it and like if you recommend and like it's my job to play the game That way, when you come back onto the show, we can talk about it together.
Right. Yeah, it sounds good. That one, and then another one more out there is the Ratchet and Clank remake. If you haven't played it yet, you gotta
Ooh,
go
I've never played
that.
Ratchet and Clank, so okay.
Yeah, the remake on PS4 is a fantastic starting point for you.
Okay.
So check
On
that one
PS4?
out. Yes, PS4. They
Okay.
do have the trilogy on PS3, the Ratchet and Clank collection. That's all the PS2 games, including the first one. That one, of course, is not the remake. That's just the very original first one. So, like, part of me wants to be like, yeah, play the original one before you play the remake so you can compare. But at the other time, I just want to be like, just play the new one because it's that much better. So
Okay.
that one's kind of borderline. It's kind of more up to you.
Okay. No, I'll check it out. Like, it's definitely on the list. Now, do you have any questions for me?
What made you start up this podcast? What made you just realize I need to talk about the influences of these games and get all this out there for the world?
The Last Guardian. No,
Okay,
wait. That was actually the first game I played with my little sister. Like,
really?
yep. Like that's the first game we played together, and at the end of the day, it felt like it was time for me to do something. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. Like I listened to Joe Rogan Experience. I listen to Rooster Teeth. I go all over the place. I listen to maybe Alice Isn't Dead or like Welcome to Night Vale. I listen to all those type of podcasts, but the ones that really homed in on the way I wanted to focus on was like Joe Rogan and Rooster Teeth because like those two were like, dang, we can talk about whatever we want
Mm-hmm.
without really having like any like realm of like, oh, we're gonna talk about this and talk about that. So I just looked at it like, well, we talk about video games and how like they might have an influence on your life. Because like there's one game that I have that's still unopened to this day. And
Which
it's
one's
a
that?
DS game, and you probably know it. The World Ends With You.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. When you said DS, unopened DS game, I was like, is it the one I'm thinking of? And it was. Oh
Yeah,
gosh, man, it's
yeah, like
one
that's.
I've been trying to track down for a while. I need to
Oh, I've been
play it.
trying to track it down. Okay.
I've heard it's fantastic. I never heard of it until Dream Drop Distance. Of course,
Oh
it's a
wow.
Kingdom Hearts. Why not? But and that when Traverse Town is they have the World Ends With You characters, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And I went and kind of looked up what the game was, and it just kind of looked confusing at first, just like seeing the gameplay without like learning it. And I was like, that looks kind of bizarre, but I've always like been interested in it, but I never really got around to purchasing it, and now I can't find one. But
I'm just making sure the name of the main character because I think I
it should be
might.
Neku.
I thought it was Neku, but for some reason it doesn't sound like it. But like
Neku
the picture of it,
Sakuraba or something like that.
yeah, like when I've read the story about it, I'm like, yo, this is really cool. But also, I wrote a play about it. It's called "The World Ends With You," and
Oh wow.
it was really, really cool, like how I did it. But what I liked about it was that, like Naku, like you said, like the picture of "The World Ends With You" is what makes me like it so much. Is that he has his headphones on and he's distancing out everything that's going on around him.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like that's what podcasts do because like it's not so often that you get to sit down with somebody and just talk. Just
Right. Yeah.
conversations about video games or whatever you want to talk about. It's just we just don't have time to do that right now. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
for like me to ask you like, hey, do you want to do it? Yeah, let's do it. Like
Yeah.
and it's cool and like video games are so more important to me now. Like honestly, I can go ahead and tell you that in the last 2 years since college, because I didn't have a lot of time because I played football. I understand what you're talking about. I didn't play as many games back then. So like my other friends that played nothing but games, I feel like I'm catching up, but at the same time, I'm learning myself. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
so it's like I'm catching up, but I'm still learning and I'm still having fun doing it. So it's really fun just to be able to sit down and talk about video games. But I'm just saying that within the last 3 years was actually the first time had been the first times I've actually beaten all my games, and it's been
Right.
something different. Like to actually beat them, like
And that was me this last summer. Like I was tired of, just game hopping, like get like halfway through this game and get bored and I'm gonna play this now, or get distracted by a new game coming out, or this game's on sale, I'm gonna buy it and start it and play 2 hours and be done. Like
yeah. And
I just
honestly,
had
bro,
such this backlog. I'm like, I need to get through these, and I'm so glad I did.
I just like being a fucking nerd. Honestly, like it's cool as hell. Like it's just not a. It's like I've made Facebook statuses like before like Nintendo Switch came out. I said like it's just the perfect time to be a gamer or
It
whatever.
really is. Like
Like
there was a
wherever
time
you
in
are.
right, yeah, back in college, like sophomore year or something. As I was getting more into my studies and stuff, I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time I kind of put gaming aside, and I need to not invest all my money in games and just need to spend my time away from my game systems and do something else. But then I thought about it, and I was like, I would lose out on so many connections with people over these games. Like that's how most of my friendships start. We get talking about stuff like, hey, what are your interests? I play video games. Oh, hey, me too. What do you play? I love that game, back and forth. And like I would lose that, and then of course they announced PS4, and I was like, okay, forget that idea about quitting games. I'm buying a PS4, and and I'm really glad I didn't stop like I thought I would. I've never regretted it since.
Exactly, man. Like it's just cool because like we can talk about it and we get it. Like or the fact that like you presented to me a game that I've been thinking about. Like damn, I really got to put my PS3 up just to play this damn game. And you
Yeah.
mentioned it, so it's definitely had to be played. I'm surprised because I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm surprised you don't get Monster Hunter when it comes out.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't played the other ones, but the way they presented Monster Hunter World on PS4, it's open world, and that's it seems more not story based, but more streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, something about it just
Oh,
seemed.
hope I answered your question too. By the way, I'm sorry.
Oh, do what?
Hope I answered your question too. I'm sorry. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
mean to cut you off.
yeah, you did definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just making sure. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't mean to cut you off, but I hope I answered
right.
your question.
And no, yeah. Oh, we got on a tangent, but yeah, you definitely answered it for sure. Um, but yeah, Monster Hunter, not a series I've played before, but the new one looks just so interesting to me. Not sure it's going to be a day one purchase for me. Just depends on exactly when it comes out and what all is around it and what my schedule looks like at the time. But it's definitely one I do plan to pick up at some point.
I know it's a January 26th release date, but I've got to make sure for both of us that it doesn't come out the same day as Nino Kuni 2. January 19th is when Nino Kuni 2 comes out.
Very
So,
19th.
yeah. So we're
It's
Monster
just like a
Hunter.
week apart.
Yeah, so I like how everything's coming out like a week apart or like maybe a month apart. It's better that
Hmm.
way.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter.
fall has always been it's a great time, but it's a tough time for gamers.
Oh,
It's because everything's releasing, getting ready for the holidays and Black Friday and Christmas. In January, it tends to slow down, but we've already got Nino Kuni, Monster Hunter, Dragon Ball
yeah.
Fighter Z scheduled for February. Next week's gonna hit. It's gonna get off the ground
Yeah.
running.
Yeah, so and what's crazy is that like we're talking like that is crazy though. Like, damn, like you had to like pace yourself. And like people say like they don't want to see reviews because like They just like rush through them. But like I know some people that are really good reviewers that take their damn times. They even Twitch stream and just go like, look, the game will be up soon. Don't worry. But
Yeah.
how do you feel about the Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Ooh, that's one like I'm not gonna have time to play it, but I'm gonna get it anyway. That's one I
Hmm.
cannot say no to.
How
Um,
did you feel about the beta? Cause I didn't get a chance, so
oh,
I know
you
you
didn't get to
did.
play the beta, man?
No, I know I
Oh,
didn't have the chance.
oh, I'm so sorry. It was good. It was so much fun. It was a little not unbalanced, but it was a beta, so people weren't always playing the objective. I think once the actual game releases, that will kind of change. Because the main draw of the beta was playing Galactic Assault on Theed on Naboo, where the droids escort their MTT to the palace while the clones try to stop it. And then if the droids make it, they have to infiltrate the palace and then take over the throne room. Well, the clones could easily stop the MTT in the very first round, but if they don't work together, that's not going to happen. And 9 times out of 10, you would have people just not even think about destroying the MTT and just go after the different droids to get up their kill count, which it wasn't helping the objective at all. So I
So
think when,
are
hmm?
you more excited for this or Call of Duty?
Oh, this definitely. Star Wars is my jam. I love anything Star Wars. I never honestly been a Call of Duty fan. Wasn't allowed to play it growing up, like a lot of kids were. It's like Grand
Mhm.
Theft Auto, Call of Duty. I've never been into because I was never allowed to play them. And then by the time I moved out to college, and could kind of like get my own games. I already was influenced by the games I grew up with, and so those just weren't in that you know circle of my life, and I
Yeah,
never ended up getting them in there.
but you definitely sound like you would be willing to step outside of your comfort zone just to play a game. Just saying.
Right? No, I would, but it's dropping that $60 on a game that comes out, a week and a half before Star Wars Battlefront, or a week after Mario Odyssey that I've already got my eye on. There's
Yeah.
just being, this time of year, there's too many games coming out right now for me to really step aside from what I want just to try, Call of Duty.
Now, what's crazy is that have you ever played Spec Ops?
I have not.
Well, there's a book called Significant Zero. I recommend it. And
Okay.
it ties back into everything that we've been talking about. Is that how this guy graduated from college? Because like I graduated from college like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And like he said, like, look, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a writer. And what he said is that and like it's really about a book how he got into the gaming industry, not really playing video games. Anyways, he knew what he wanted to do, and along the lines, he actually worked on Bioshock. I don't know if you ever,
Ooh, oh
yeah,
man, good one.
like he had a chance to work on Bioshock. He had a chance to work on some pretty high games, and like one of the best written games of all time is Spec Ops. And what he said, and like it's really just a detailed book about how the gaming industry really is, like from the
Hmm.
ground up, from someone that didn't have anything to becoming a little better. And like I actually tweeted it at Walt Williams, who the writer of it, like the author of it, and said like I'm glad I read this because now I'm in the gaming industry. Like he liked it. I was like, wow, that's actually mind blowing to me, kind of sort of.
Oh man, that's
But
awesome.
it's like what I'm trying to say is that he even when he was about to step away, he said he couldn't step away. He couldn't because like what's crazy is because I know you saw that tweet with John Boyega, like you said, like will Star Wars Battlefront 2
Oh
have,
yeah, yeah.
but what he said was, hey, what happened is like he said he got a call from EA, and I'm not trying to spoil the book. He's even came out and said it. He said, well, I know who EA was. I don't whatever they said, I don't care. I'm not gonna do it. They said, well, we were wondering if you want to write the story for Star Wars Battlefront 2. And he said, why did I even think I could leave this damn job?
And so he's on the storyboard board for the campaign of Battlefront 2.
um,
So he's
yeah,
like helping write the story.
he did write. Yeah, he pretty much write the story.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man,
like
that's awesome.
pretty much he was done. Like he wasn't gonna do anything else. And then
Mhm.
like they called him and asked him. He was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Man, that is too cool.
I mean, but the thing is, though, he said like he wasn't gonna take the job because he was about to have a newborn. And he said
Mm.
he was half around the country. He said he was in like Germany or somewhere. And all of a
Oh
sudden
man.
that tweet goes live with John Boyega. And then he looked at his wife and like his wife said, "You gotta do it." John Boyega said, "You gotta do it." Like, really? Okay.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad that you're a Star Wars fan.
Oh
So
yes.
excited. It's a great year to be a Star
Hmm.
Wars fan.
Oh
We
yes.
got episode 8 coming out. I just ran through all of Star Wars myself
Nice.
because one of my friends, she's never seen them. So I was like, oh,
Mhm.
great.
That's funny. I did that with a friend before Force Awakens came out a couple years back.
Ooh, so how did you run it? I'm just curious. Four,
We
five,
did.
six, or one,
No,
two,
he
three.
he wanted to do chronological,
Mm-hmm.
so we ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. I didn't like, I wanted to, like, I felt like if I did it with her, she would be bored
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat. So I had her watch 4, 5, 6. So she'd go like, oh my God, this is kind of crazy. And then watch 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no, I'm fully I back the release order for sure, but my friend who hadn't seen it before wanted to do chronological. I'm like, you're the one who hasn't seen it. This is what you want to do. I'll do this for you. So this is what we did. But in most situations, I am very a strong advocate of release order versus chronological. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but Kingdom Hearts is the exact same way. They
Yeah, you're
release
right.
them not in chronological order, but the way they do it just presents the story in such a way that it works. If you tried playing them chronologically, it wouldn't make probably nearly as much sense as if you played them as the way they came out.
I agree with you totally, bro. And before we write it down, do you have any more questions for me?
Not now, but I mean, if I ever think of any, I won't hesitate to tweet at you or something.
Okay, I got you, bro. Like you're always welcome. Where can we find you at?
Um, I'm just on Twitch. I'm Snazzy Snorlax. But I'm mostly active on Twitter, also Snazzy Snorlax.
Okay. Cool,
Um,
cool. Good. Thanks for coming on, Tyler. And I am Perry, and you can find me on Twitter at Agent Platypus 23. And I guess on Twitch as Engulf1424. I'm really trying to change that to Agent Platypus. It just fits me better. I like Phineas and Ferb, so what the hell? It's my name.
and again, once again, a whole nother ball game. I love Phineas and Ferb as well. Like I just love the fact that your name is Perry and that you went with the platypus for your username. That this makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Also, disclaimer: Twitter is actually at Snazzy Snorlax 42.
Okay. Got
There's a
you. Got you.
42 at the end there. I forgot
Okay.
about. Um,
Okay, we got you. And like I said, this has been another episode of AWOI Gaming. It's been fun talking about video games as like because next week, guys, we've said it. I've said it throughout this whole episode. If you didn't play any games, if you played Persona, if you played any games this year, you might as well drop them now so you can play Mario Odyssey. I just have a feeling that Nintendo is going to run away with the Game of the Year candidates and Zelda and Mario. It's
man, you
just going
can
to be.
say that again.
He said it's going to be fantastic.
Will
And
be.
if you if you like this episode, will be available on iTunes where you can leave 5-star reviews. And that's all we ask for, 5-star reviews. Nothing negative. Keep that to yourselves. We would like feedback, but all positive feedback. And this will be on YouTube and any of your podcast directories. And this has been another episode of AWOI Gaming. And we'll talk at you later, guys. Peace.
Later.